Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Hudak. I am in London right now. We just wrapped up the Imperialism on Trial event. Today is Tuesday, and this is the second day of Julian Assange's full extradition hearing. Right now I am joined by former MP and talk show host George Galloway. George, thank you so much. How are you doing?
Pleasure.
So today obviously wrapped up the second day of his full extradition hearing. What is your take on what has happened so far in the courtroom?
Well, I've got no confidence in this lower court. The process has been wholly corrupted from the beginning, and the people presiding over it are riven with conflicts of interest, and they have no interest in the actual arguments being made. So I see it more as a rubber stamp court. But further up the tree, when this matter goes to appeal and then appeal, more senior judges who have to take more care about the law, I have some hope that we can win the argument about abuse of process and disproportionality. Julian is facing 175 years in prison if he goes back to a show trial in the United States on espionage charges, even though none of the alleged offences that he is said to have committed took place in the United States. He has no loyalty to the United States. He's not a citizen of the United States. He's never signed any document that he would keep secret anything in the United States. He's an Australian operating in London and elsewhere in Europe. He has absolutely no responsibility to harbor the secrets of the United States war machine. So disproportionality is an issue, but the abuse of process is so stark, so ugly, that it's difficult to see how more senior judges cannot give that due weight. And of course, the biggest corruption of process is the fact that his lawyer-client confidentiality was for years breached by secret CIA filming of every meeting he ever had with any of his lawyers to talk about extradition. Now, in any other court on any other day, this would already have been thrown out because of that corruption. If you were on trial for a litter offence, the case would be thrown out if it turned out that the prosecuting authority had access to your discussions with your lawyer.
Right, it seems that would be sufficient to throw this case out of court, which is telling me that this is certainly a selective prosecution and also a political persecution. And you made the point earlier tonight that under the US-UK treaty, the UK cannot extradite a person to the United States for political purposes, and many are arguing that this is in fact a political case. Can you speak to that?
Well, 4.1 of the extradition treaty is there on the face of the treaty, and sufficiently high, 4.4, that political offences cannot be considered under this extradition treaty. It's not that they can't ever be extradited for political offences, but a wholly different body of law has to be used other than the extradition treaty, and due cause, just cause I think you call it in the United States, has to be shown. And as they cannot show it, as is already evident in the first 2 days at this lower level in the courts, I would be confident that we would win that. So it's persecution, not prosecution. It's blatantly political. His offences, alleged, could not possibly be more political. The idea that revealing war crimes committed in Iraq is not political. It's just moonshine. So what Julian Assange is on trial for doing is telling the truth in the public interest, and doing so not for glory or for money, but to serve the interests of the public. And if truth becomes treason, as his learned counsel said, then we're all in trouble. And the first people who are in trouble are Britain's journalists, if we have any, because of course that's supposed to be their job.
Right, but recently, fortunately, we have been seeing more corporate media journalists starting to show support for Julian Assange, but I know we would all like to see more of that. I would have to say that it's probably a very effective disinformation campaign that has led to many people to not want to support Julian Assange, including journalists.
Yes, the elite knew what they were doing in this era of identity politics when they put the spot on Julian Assange on sexual matters. They knew that that would alienate the woke, liberal intelligentsia, the chatterati, the salon socialists and columnists and so on. They knew that that's what that would achieve. That's why they went for that. They didn't go for, tax evasion or accuse him of shoplifting in a store somewhere. They went for something that in this era, in the era of Me Too and all of that, would put the mark of Cain on his forehead. And that's why, there's a very big attendance here today. But I've got to tell you, having spent a lifetime on the left, none of the left are here, none of them. And even people like Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader, and his adjutant, John McDonnell, have joined the campaign half-heartedly at the 11th hour. In fact, 11 hours and 55 minutes, and have done so half-heartedly. And that's because of these absolutely fake, set-up, fit-up allegations against Julian Assange in Sweden.
I think it's really unfortunate, and it really shows that we have some systemic issues at hand here, that politicians are unwilling to comment on the most serious press freedom case of our time.
Yeah, well, the first member of Parliament to visit Julian Assange in Belmarsh jail had to come from Australia to do it. Not a single British member of Parliament had at that point asked to go in and see Julian Assange, the most celebrated publisher, whistleblower, truth teller in the 21st century, and the biggest freedom of speech issue that I hope we'll ever see in our lifetime.
Absolutely. George Galloway, thank you.
Pleasure.